Well, hello. So good to be here today on this beautiful, beautiful Thursday. I'm Leah Davis, founder of Leah Davis Coaching, and today we're going to talk about letting go and how to activate peace about where you are financially. I want to talk about the weight of shame that can be there around money and how to begin releasing it. So, again, welcome because this is a way that you can hear in some ways that you can release that shame and start over again with grace. So whether you're watching this live or later on, I'm so happy that you're here. And I just want to share with you a little bit about what I've gone through and an experience that I had and how I was able to let go and activate that peace. So I don't know if you've been to any other of my events, if you've heard this story before, but this is so true for me. And it was around 2017, and I had found myself in a horrible financial crisis. I had left a relationship that had been filled with domestic violence for many years. And I left that relationship thinking that when I had left that everything was going to be amazing because I was finally free. And in some aspect I was, but at the same time, what I've learned over the years, especially for women that are restarting after leaving a harm doer and they're still tied to that individual due to having children with them, or maybe there's divorce things that are still going on, that person can have a lot of hold and influence and still affect you as a woman. And that's what I was experiencing. And plus, I was in crisis. I mean, I was been traumatized for years and I was just trying to get my footing. So I was not making enough money in my career at that time. And so what ended up happening is I moved back to my mom's and I was staying in her bedroom, and I had all of my belongings in boxes. I remember seeing them in the corner. I can visualize it now. And my child was sleeping on a mattress on the floor, and my other was on the floor in the living room because there wasn't another bed for him. And so at that time, I felt so much shame for the fact that I was in my 30s and here I am. This is my situation. This is not how life was supposed to be. I felt helpless a lot of times too. I would wonder, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? It was horrible and debilitating. And the amount of overwhelm that I had and anxiety, I mean, just in dealing with what I was with my child's father at that time, because I had left him and he was perpetuating his abuse through the court system. I was in financial crisis. I had a lot of financial anxiety. I was being traumatized in the courtroom, out of the courtroom. It was very overwhelming and debilitating. And to express to you what that was like for me is kind of difficult. But I just remember sitting there, and at days it just felt so hard to even just get up and try. And I just didn't know what to do. Who could I talk to? I didn't really have anyone I could really felt like I could talk to about what I was experiencing at that time. And a lot of it now, looking back, I was unaware about a lot of things that were affecting me. I just knew how I felt. And so what ended up changing for me, which I want to share with you. So I'm sharing that story. This may not be exactly where you are, right? That maybe you're not in financial crisis, but maybe you're experiencing some overwhelm with some debt that you have that's accrued, or maybe there's something that's happened with the loss of a job or income, or there's been significant change in your life that has greatly changed your financial situation, and you're not where you thought you would be at this moment in time, and it's causing you a lot of pain and suffering. What I invite you to consider is radical acceptance. And if you haven't heard that phrase before, I'll say it again, radical acceptance. That means, it doesn't mean you're like giving in, giving up, like, oh, forget it, I'm accepting this and that's it. No, it's a matter of being able to courageously look at where you are and accept the circumstance that you're in. And that's what I did at that time. I accepted the fact that I was at my mom's again, that I didn't have a place of my own, and that I was in the situation that I was in. And it took a lot, because it meant letting go of this vision that I had for myself of where I would be at that time in my life, and letting go of what I thought life would be like for my children at that time, and just pulling into that acceptance and saying to myself that this is where I'm at. And that takes a lot of courage. And I've said this before. I didn't know it then, but now I do know from some work of David Hawkins, if you're familiar with the doctor, and I think he's a scientist too. But when we have courage, that is the starting point of transformation. That emotion, that feeling of courage is the starting point for transformation. I didn't know that then, that that's what I was doing by having that courage to accept the circumstance that I was in. Meaning, acceptance for me was, this is what's going on. This is how much money I have and don't have. And this is what I can do right now. So, what I could do right then was be able to get some food, put a little money, gas in my car, and keep life really simple. Spent a lot of time with my little one and going to the park and not going out and about like I was as much. So just changing how I was experiencing my day-to-day life and just accepting that this is the circumstance that I'm in, and also accepting the fact that I'm not going to stay here forever, because I accepted that. I wasn't going to accept the fact that this is going to be the rest of my life. No, I accepted that my life was going to change. I just didn't know how or when. I just knew that it was. And what also this requires to let go and to activate that peace within you where you are financially is, the second thing I want to share with you is that act of forgiveness for yourself. Even if there's something that's happened that someone has done to you that has caused the situation that you're in, there is still an element of forgiveness, forgiving yourself. So if you are, for example, if you're experiencing some financial hardship and something was done that caused that you didn't do, right? Maybe somebody harmed you or loss of a job or something, right? Forgiveness for yourself if you have any sort of criticism, self-criticism or judgment that you're saying to yourself, like, this shouldn't be happening to me. I'm better than this. Why is this happening? Like, that's very critical. So consider forgiving yourself, right? And that forgiveness, it means being able to recognize the words that are being said to you in your mind, or even if it's somebody else that's coming into your head, because sometimes people, that criticism is in somebody else's voice. But forgiving yourself and forgiving others if person's causing harm. Now, I can truly say that at that time, when I'm talking about the story, when I was, at my mom's and my things in boxes, I wasn't at a point of being able to forgive my child's father at that time. I definitely wasn't. It took time. So if there's somebody here, if you're experiencing the results of a harm doer, if I'm not saying you have to forgive that person for the things that they've done to you that have been harmful, right? Especially if it's activating and it's causing a lot of pain. But start with forgiving yourself. Eventually, over time, you can forgive those that have harmed you. But first and foremost, the first person to forgive is yourself. And for me, that forgiveness was me being very real and just accepting and acknowledging the fact that I wasn't taught how to manage my money. Even though I already had a career as a financial advisor, I wasn't taught, I wasn't given the example. I didn't see it at home. I didn't learn it at school. Everything was self-taught. So the world of personal finance and money really opened up for me in that career. That world opened up, but then I was comparing myself to people who didn't have a life like mine, that had access to resources and money and things that I didn't have, but I was talking to them and helping them, right? So for me, it was a matter at that time to just really bring forward and forgive the fact that it's okay. I'm going to make mistakes. There's going to be decisions that I'm going to make and that will continue to make until I really, really do understand what's going on with how I'm using money and what I'm doing in life. But for now, there's going to be mistakes, and I still make mistakes. I am not perfect. I say this all the time. I am not perfect. There's still things that come up for me, and yet it's not as severe, definitely not as before. And I'm also able to recognize what's going on a lot faster because my level of awareness of what's happening around me and internally is far greater than where I was in 2017. So that's what, 8 years ago. I'm like, wow, it's going to be crazy. It's been that long. Sometimes it feels just like yesterday for me, but it's not, definitely not. I've come a long way. So, yes, so I invite you to find a way to forgive yourself, whether that's writing a little journal to yourself, or maybe having some sort of a practice where you kind of write down, some of the things, mistakes, things that you made, and forgive yourself for that and burn it up. Find a way to process that, to acknowledge it, to become aware of it, and then let it go some way, somehow, either in a conversation, maybe you have a therapist, or if you have a counselor or a spiritual teacher or a priest, reverend, someone that you can talk to, where you can release that and let it go and forgive yourself. And then hear somebody else speak to you that loves you as well, that can provide you with that compassion. And to also remind you of how great and beautiful and wonderful you are. Okay, we need that as well. And so I also want to say, for the final thing on this, on being able to activate that peace within yourself, and when you're going through a very difficult time financially, is I'm going to ask you a question. How many times have you picked up the pieces and have been able to get through something? And it doesn't even have to be financially related. Just think about your life. Think about all the decisions that you've made. Think about all the mistakes that you've made. Think about all the times that you have recovered, redeemed yourself, gotten through it, stood up again. Reflect on those things and know that each one of those circumstances, situations, things that came up where you were able to start over again, you have that ability to do it now. And you can do it even faster because you've practiced. You've already practiced on it. So you get to practice it now. So what things worked for you then? What things have worked for you in the past to help you get through something, to help you rebuild, to help you start over again, to get that? So really do consider that. And it's so important to take this in because it's so easy for us to forget how much we have accomplished. Also, another thing I invite you to do and consider doing is, if you're in a situation where it's like, which is, I've been talking about this a lot lately when it comes to women that I serve, and the spending and wanting to change their behaviors of spending money and buying things that they say they don't want to buy anymore, and they keep doing that. Okay, got that. So, also think about, if you're in a position right now and you are kind of beating yourself up and not quite sure where you're going to head. This is where that comes in about, thinking about how many times you started over. I also want you, as you're thinking about all these times that you started over, think about how many times and how much money has come through to pay for things for you. How many years have you paid your car note? How many times have you made sure that you've paid for your kids' lunches for school? How many times has money come through, and how much money has come through for you to pay your rent or your mortgage? Think of all that money that has flowed to you over the years so that you could have all of your needs met. And remember, that is still available now. And it is happening now in some way, shape, or form. If you really do reflect on kind of what's happening in your life, like what is showing up for you that is working, I guarantee you there's something there to be grateful for. So remember, you have practiced on how to rebuild in other situations, large, small, things that are really impactful and affected you, or minor. Do you have the ability to do that? And it's all practice. So we're still practicing at life. So remember, you can start where you are today. Have the courage to radically accept where you are today, what's going on, what got you there. Forgive yourself, forgive others, and remember, you have evidence. You have evidence in all the years before this very moment today that money has been flowing to you, and that you've been able to rebuild, and you've been responsible. Okay, so you have it in you. So remember all of this. I would love to hear from you. This is a short little LinkedIn Live on this topic right here. I just wanted to give you some powerful nuggets to support you throughout your day as you're navigating the uncertainty of the financial situation you're in. It may be uncertain, the financial situation that you're in, but I guarantee you with certainty that you know you have it in you, because you already know that you can get up, rebuild, and start over, and you can start now. So I challenge you to start now. I challenge you to go deep, even if it's for a second, and reflect on what it is that got you to where you are and accept that. I challenge you to show up for yourself in a way that you never have before, so that you can make a deeper, significant impact on your future today. So you don't have to wait. You can start today. And so I invite you to do that. I would love to hear from you. Send me a DM. They're open here on LinkedIn. Send me an email, leah@leahcoaching.com. Let me know what's working for you and what things are you going to radically accept regarding your financial situation so that you can start again. You got it in you. I know you do. I'll be seeing you soon. Have a beautiful and blessed day.